You want to talk about stress? You want to talk about stress? I've stumbled upon a major magical conspiracy. A major arcana could be in serious trouble. The paper trail to prove it. We talk about Marriage Sister 2. I've been dying to talk with you about Marriage Sister 2 all week. Marriage Sister 2, Marriage Sister 2. Everywhere I go, I see Marriage Sister 2. Why? Because I have the same goddamn tattoo that Amethyst has. Who's Amethyst, you're wondering? Well, good question. You remember Aurelia? Sweet, darling, beautiful Aurelia. Well, and you probably remember those tarot cards she uses too. The cards she's using to try and peer into the future to see what lies, what awaits for us around our next adventure. Well, only they aren't her tarot cards exactly. They belong to Amethyst, the Nicole Kidman Moulin Rouge best friend of Amethyst, Aurelia. Amethyst and Aurelia, best friends. Only Amethyst had been missing for 2 months, and before she left, she gave the tarot cards to Aurelia, and then vanished off the face of Teleria. Okay, so Amethyst gave the cards to Aurelia, got it? Okay, but the tattoo that's shared by Amethyst and Marius and Amethyst, that tattoo is actually a symbol for the tarot card. Well, less of a symbol and more of a brand, because Marius used to work for the tarot court. This is unused to. The boy's got some baggage, but he didn't hand it in his notice because they were using mind control on him, trying to make him do things he didn't want to do. And one day the guy just joins a fairly innocent-looking church, eager for magical equality, but there's only one thing worse than a church. Boom.
Wisdom.
No, the Church of Starry Wisdom. These sons of bitches might have started out with the right idea. The idea being, hey, maybe everybody shouldn't possess reality-warping, death-bringing magical powers. But just like Andy's relationship with the sword, that shit turned kind of nasty. The Church of Starry Wisdom was founded after the time of Magi tore the balance of magic and Teleria a new one. You got a fireball, you got a fireball, everybody got a fireball. And this guy called Fembris Lod, remember that name? Fembris Lod. It's important. He got given a scythe that could cut the magic right off a guy. And then the gods themselves, had to cut down and tell him it was too powerful. So he hung it up and called it a day until the church were like, oh no, that's a great idea. We're just going to keep doing that. Now, Marius gets in deep with the church, and the church enters this inner circle that pretentiously calls themselves the High Mysteries. High Mysteries? What is this, Scooby-Doo on a mountain? These guys are run by the Tarot Court, yes, the Tattoo Tarot Court, and they have operatives in positions of power all across Teleria, all across the Empire, and they don't care so much about magical equality as they do about burning precipitating people. This is the stake. The Tarot Court all have code names, and their meetings are conducted through illusions. They could be anybody. You've got the courtesan, you've got the frayed rope, you've got the hanged man who's got a kink I'm afraid to find out, and you've got the lovers, remember, the lovers. Now, this lot employ witch hunters to go out and sort these pesky sorcerers out, and they use their magical memory erasure to keep them subservient. They erased half of Marius' memories just to keep using his skills. Eventually, Marius was able to break away and run free, but in doing so put a huge target on his back that everybody in Teleria's least cool, most shadiest organisation are all aiming at. Or at least that's what he's told the wife and kids, so he doesn't have to go back. Am I right, Alfred? Now, this court, this tarot court and the High Mysteries used Aurelia/Amethyst's tarot cards for reasons as yet unknown. But while we're here, we may as well speculate. Could it have been for predicting when a magical disaster was about to happen? Could they be for finding magic users they wanted to kill? Or could it be for finding the real sacred scythe? Because the one they've got is fake. Now, Amethyst was real good at these cards and would spend hours and hours every day looking at them, perhaps spiraling into obsession over something that she knew wasn't real, at the point where she would give up on reality to put all her life into the effort of this little fraction of fantasy that frequently filled her with feelings of freedom. But then she ran off. She broke free of the tarot court and ran away. And she took these cards God knows where. But we know her. She gave them to Aurelia. But we don't know where she's gone. Who knows what else she took? She took her partner with her because her code name was the Lovers. Lovers, plural. And her partner was an orc named Felix Lod. Felix Lod, F Lod, does that sound familiar? Because it should. Felix Lod is an orc, sure, and Fembris Lod is a human, but that doesn't mean shit in this world of free love that can dilute the human out of you faster than you could say Royal Cartographer's Guild. It's science, and I could prove it, but we don't really have it. You know what, I haven't got time. Human plus orc equals half orc. Half orc plus orc equals quarter orc. Quarter orc plus 3/4, 7, it ends up where you're fully orc, and let's get back on track. So Amethyst and Ethelod run away from the court and take the cards with them, and if the court had any other magical artifacts, like these cards probably are, maybe they took those too. Maybe they took a sacred staff that everybody only thought was fake because it only works secretly in the hands of a descendant of Ethelod himself, like Felix. And the Amethyst on the run, hiding out as the only sensible thing she can think to do in this situation of life and death, where she's always looking over her shoulder, living in paranoia, never knowing what's coming, which is to get on a swing above a stage in a sparkly outfit and a big hoop and sing Diamonds Are Our Girl's Best Friend. No wonder Aurelia was drawn to her. They become the very best of friends. Well, here's the kicker. Aurelia did not know about Felix Lodge, so we can assume that Felix and Amethyst must have parted ways at some point, which is a real shame, because remember when I told you that the gods were afraid of the scythe that he may not have? He definitely has it. Well, that's because they knew that scythe could kill a god in all the ways that matters. And who are we probably going to have to fight? A god. Anyways, Amethyst hands the cards to Aurelia and flees again, and who knows where, but the last thing Marius knows, or Marius heard, is that the tarot card believed Amethyst and Felix were dead and the cards were lost. But we've got them. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, thank goodness all that was wrapped up so clearly and concisely and in such an understandable, coherent manner, but no. Let's think about why Amethyst might have left. A, she had an unmotivated change of heart, which is unlikely. B, she was asked to do something she didn't want to, which is possible. Or C, she saw something in the cards which made her very afraid. Now, I like this theory, but if she saw something disturbing enough in the cards to have to abandon her whole way of life and all the power that came with being in the tarot card, then we must assume that the cards themselves have some serious power in them. Power enough that the tarot card would hunt down anyone who had them, according to Marius's very foreboding warning. And where do we know the most powerful objects of all Teleria should be kept, and where Ethelod Jr. may have taken the maybe fake sacred scythe that could kill gods? That's right, the floating city of Sutan, home to the most secure vault in the world. Oh wait, don't we got something that belongs there? Yes we do, it's a skull and it's jade and it's missing an eye. A missing eye? No. Careful Vecners, let's not jump to conclusions. No, let's. The eyes and ruby are one of the ruby eyes is missing, and in that missing eye is encased the soul of the world's first murderer, of course. Apparently it's an extremely powerful artifact when completed, and I'm 100% sure I know why. Now, the gems of incongruence were created approximately at the beginning of time and go by another name, the Godstones. These Godstones got formed in the Well of Chaos, and from the chaos, and from the stones came, you guessed it, the gods. But these gods weren't the gods that cared about whether mortals existed or not. These were the gods of storms and light and elemental forces. With the rise of civilization that came once the original gods found out they could make monkey walk on two legs like man, more gods started springing up faster than horny D&D players on Reddit. Societal gods like agriculture and justice and murder. So what if this goddamn ruby and this goddamn jade skull holds the goddamn godstone of the goddamn god of murder? And what are the chances, you're thinking? He's gone insane, you're thinking. Well, you may be right. But if I had a nickel for every time I thought of a godstone, in the last couple of sessions, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Twice? Twice? Yes, twice! Because the godstone for the goddess of magic is loose somewhere down in the frozen city of Ithrin, which formerly the flying city of Ithrin. How do I know this? Thanks to our new best friend, a snowman, with the brain of a guy who thinks dead bodies make for good friends. Now, Zan2, aka Zan Squared, aka Zan the Simulacrum, is the copy of a wizard who we know got burned at the stake, was, for luring adventurers to their deaths and using their corpses for his own nefarious purposes. Now he's doing meet and greets down at the entrance to the Lost Spire of Netherrealm. So this guy explains that although we can't leave because he's not a real boy, even though he did when we used the machine on him, but apparently it didn't quite work. He's probably got a spellbook by now. This spire, anyway, belongs to a master illusionist. And this machine turns illusions into reality, which is part of the wider chaos of Ithrin. And we helped him. And we think it worked. Baby Merch came real. We start small, anyway, so he says he'll help us, and we start small, and we ask him where the entrance to Ithrin proper is. He doesn't know, so instead he just opens up a whole new kind of world, because this guy is a simulacrum of the Arcane Brotherhood. The Arcane Brotherhood, yes, that Arcane Brotherhood. The Arcane Brotherhood, we can't walk a single footstep without meeting somebody from the Arcane Brotherhood. And they're all out here looking for Ithrin, which Simulacrum Zan knows a lot about, through the vague and unsettling answer of having read a lot of ancient texts on it. So it turns out that when Ithrin hit the ice way back when it crashed, this very illusionist whose tower we were in decided to make a deal with our gal Auril the Frostmaiden to keep the city frozen underneath the glacier, and then nobody could ever get to it. And the spell she cast to keep it this way could only be undone by her. And the spell is called Rime the Frostmaiden, which is the name of the Avenger. Now, why did this wizard do this, aside from to personally spy Avarice? Well, Ithrin used objects called mythlos, which were sources of incredible magical power. And along with the ring of the Luvatar, which held the godstone of the goddess of magic, which was possessed by the leader of these Ithrin mages, allowed them to transcend the laws of magic. But it all went tits up when the guy lost the ring, and he probably did that because he put it in a safe and special place that turned out to be so safe and so special that he forgot where it was. Now, anyway, this here illusionist mage that survived the crash decided to get Auril to cast the Rime of the Frostmaiden so that no one could ever get their mitts on the mythlos or the ring of the Luvatar or wield that kind of power again. They even have a goddamn language that no one has to speak. Interesting. Probably a good call. So where does that leave us? Well, the short answer is between a rock and a hard place, and the long answer is the Frostmaiden is believed to be living on the island of Grimskull, which is way out in the Shivering Isles, and no one knows exactly where it is, and the only way of uncovering the city is to go there, and the city of Ithrin is to go there and persuade her to undo Rime of the Frostmaiden. Could we kill her? Could we persuade her? Who knows? Because she's a god. If only we had a sacred side. We know that Avarice is trying to get to Ithrin, yes, Avarice, of course, and she could summon something into this world, probably Levistus. And we know that if she knows that the Frostmaiden is the key, then she's probably going to try and undo it her. But we don't. If she doesn't know, then she could toil for the rest of her life and never uncover the ice, never break it. If I were a gambling man and my favourite hobby involves rolling dice, so I am, I'd wager that Avarice knows. Levistus could have told her, or in the week that we've been fighting Duergar and dragons, which she conveniently distracted us with, by the way, she could be halfway to Grimskull by now. She could be meeting Auril and undoing it, or she could be waiting us out. She could know that we know, and we know that we know, and we would go and do it for her. But let's say that we don't go, and let's say that she doesn't go either, and that leaves us just sitting on the ice waiting for something bad to happen, and something bad will happen, because if not Avarice, if not us, then somebody's going to figure it out, and somebody's going to go and do it, and somebody's going to unleash the ice, and somebody is going to find all the powers with Ithrin, and somebody's probably going to end up killing a god or getting killed by a god. As you can see, I've connected the dots.
You haven't connected anything?
I've connected the dots.